My son shouted at me at his wedding, "Go away! My bride does not want you here!" I walked out quietly, with a sharp pain in my chest. After 18 hours, he called me and said, "Dad, send me the keys to the villa. We're spending our honeymoon there." That made me furious. When he entered the house, he found some interesting photos of his bride near the mirror. Before we continue, we ask you to hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. Let me back up. The wedding was at the Harbor Club, one of those glass-walled venues overlooking Lake Michigan, where every table costs more than my monthly mortgage. The kind of place where the silverware has more weight than anything I own, where the waiters move like ghosts and the champagne flows like water. I wore my good suit, the charcoal one Eleanor had picked out 3 years ago. It still fit, barely, though the pants were a little tight around the waist. I stood near the back during the ceremony, watching Logan fidget at the altar while Ava glided down the aisle in white silk that probably cost what I made in 2 months. The dress had this long train that 2 bridesmaids had to carry, and when she walked, the whole thing shimmered under the chandelier light. I'd met Ava exactly 4 times before that day. The first time was at a restaurant Logan had chosen, some fusion place downtown where the portions were tiny and the prices were criminal. She'd shown up 20 minutes late, apologized without meaning it, and spent the entire dinner on her phone. The second time was at Logan's apartment for what he called a casual get-together. I'd brought a bottle of wine. Nobody drank it. The third time was at our house for Sunday dinner. She'd picked at Eleanor's roast chicken and asked if we had any quinoa. We didn't. The fourth time was 2 months before the wedding, when Logan brought her over to show her the villa photos. She'd looked through them with this calculating expression, like she was appraising real estate, and asked how much the property was worth. Each time she looked through me like I was furniture. She had this way of tilting her head and smiling that made you feel like you were being evaluated and found wanting. Her eyes would slide over you, taking in your clothes, your shoes, your watch, building some mental spreadsheet of your worth. And every time, I could see the number she assigned to me. Insufficient. Logan ate it up. He'd always been susceptible to people who made him feel important. As a kid, he'd gravitated toward the popular kids, the ones with money and connections, even when they treated him like a hanger-on. In high school, he'd dated a girl whose father owned a car dealership. She'd cheated on him twice. He'd forgiven her both times because being seen with her elevated his status. The ceremony was fine. Standard vows, standard music. Some string quartet playing something classical I didn't recognize. Ava cried on cue. Logan cried too, which surprised me. Maybe he really loved her, or maybe he just loved the idea of her. I clapped when everyone clapped. Eleanor squeezed my hand during the kiss. Her grip was tight, almost painful. I looked at her and saw worry in her eyes. She'd never liked Ava. We found our table for the reception, tucked in the back near the kitchen doors. Table 17. I remember because there were only 18 tables total, and table 18 was for the band's equipment. Logan had assigned us there. Limited space, he'd said on the phone 2 weeks before. You understand, right? Ava's family is huge. I understood. Our table had 6 seats. 2 were empty. The other 4 were occupied by people we'd never met, a couple from Ava's yoga studio, and 2 guys from Logan's office who spent the entire night talking about cryptocurrency. Eleanor made polite conversation. I nodded at appropriate moments and wondered how much this whole event was costing. Dinner came out in waves. First course was something described as compressed melon with mint foam. It tasted like nothing. Second course was some kind of fish I couldn't pronounce, arranged on the plate like modern art. I ate it because it was there, but I'd have traded the whole meal for a burger. I was cutting into my third course, duck breast, cooked so rare it was still pink, when Logan appeared at our table. His face was flushed, probably from champagne. Grant Walsh hovered behind him like a shadow, expensive suit and cheap smirk. "Dad," Logan said, too loud. Several people at nearby tables turned to look. "We need to talk." I set down my fork. "Sure. What's up?" "Not here, outside." Eleanor touched my wrist, a warning. I ignored it and followed Logan through the reception hall, past dancing couples and laughing groups. We ended up on the terrace, overlooking black water and city lights. Logan turned on me fast. "You're embarrassing us." The words hit like a slap. "What?" "Ava's family is here. Important people. Her uncle is a judge. Her cousin runs a hedge fund. And you're sitting there in your factory clothes. This is a suit, Logan. Acting like you belong at the main tables. You don't. Ava made a seating chart. You were supposed to stay in the back." Something cold settled in my chest. I am in the back. "You keep staring at people." Her uncle noticed. He asked who the creepy guy was. Grant snorted. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw what he was. A parasite who'd latched onto my son and convinced him that ambition meant stepping on whoever was closest. "I'm your father," I said quietly. "Yeah, and you're making me look bad." Logan's voice cracked higher. "Ava doesn't want you here. This is her day, and you're ruining it." "How am I ruining it?" "You're a reminder," Grant said, "of where Logan came from. Factory worker dad, middle-class background. Ava's trying to build something here. Your presence undercuts that." Logan nodded. "Dad, you need to understand. This isn't about you. It's about what's best for us. Just go. Please, go home. We'll pretend you got sick or something." The terrace was cold. Wind cut across the lake. Inside, music thumped. People laughed. My son stood there, drunk and desperate, asking me to leave his wedding. "Okay," I said. Logan blinked. "What?" "I'll go." I turned and walked back inside. Found Eleanor at the table. "We're leaving." She saw my face and didn't argue. We collected our coats and left through the side entrance. Nobody stopped us. Nobody noticed. In the car, Eleanor sat quiet for 3 blocks. Then, "What happened?" "He asked me to leave, said I was embarrassing him. That little... Don't." I kept my eyes on the road. Not now. We drove home in silence. The house was dark when we pulled in. I hung up my suit and changed into jeans and a work shirt. Eleanor made tea neither of us drank. We sat at the kitchen table until after midnight, not talking, just existing in the same space while something between us hardened into certainty. I thought about Logan as a boy, 8 years old, learning to ride a bike. I'd run beside him, holding the seat, keeping him steady. When I finally let go, he'd ridden 20 feet before falling, scraped his knee, cried. I'd picked him up, cleaned the wound, told him he'd done great. He'd hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Where had that boy gone? The call came at 6 the next evening. "Dad?" "Hey, it's me." Logan's voice, bright and careless, like the previous night hadn't happened. "What do you want?" So, Ava and I decided to skip the Bahamas. Too cliché, you know? We're gonna do the honeymoon at the villa instead. That place is amazing and she's been dying to see it. Plus Grant thinks we could use it for some investor meetings next month. Can you overnight the keys? I sat very still. The villa, Wharton's Point, Uncle Edward's legacy, the lakeside estate he'd left me 8 years ago because, as he'd written in his will, Alfred is the only one who knows the value of work. "The villa," I repeated. "Yes, it'll be great. Very romantic. And Grant says we could also use it for investor meetings next month, accomplishing 2 things at the same time, right?" "You want the keys?" "Dad, come on. Don't be weird about this. It's technically family property, right? And it's just sitting there." I closed my eyes, saw Logan's face on the terrace, flushed with champagne and contempt. Heard him say, "You're embarrassing us." "Sure," I said. "I'll send them." "Awesome. Thanks, Dad. You're the best." He hung up. Eleanor looked at me from across the kitchen. "Are you really?" "Yes." I pulled out my laptop. "But first, I need to make a call. The villa had a smart printer. High-end HP model, networked, cloud-enabled. Uncle Edward had installed it 5 years before he passed, part of his whole modern estate renovation. The thing had Wi-Fi, automatic updates, and full integration with any Apple or Google account. 3 months ago, I'd noticed an unfamiliar device logged into the network. I'd checked the logs out of habit. Old factory training, always monitor your systems. The device was an iPhone 12, registered to an iCloud account. ava.monroe, photos, iCloud.com. I'd thought nothing of it at the time. Logan had mentioned bringing Ava up to see the place. She must have connected her phone to print something. The printer saved metadata for 30 days, then auto-deleted. Standard privacy protocol. But I'd run a backup before the deletion, just in case, because I spent 30 years maintaining systems that could crush a man's hand if a sensor failed, and you learned to keep copies of everything. Now I opened that backup. 63 files, all photos. All printed on August 14th, during what Logan had called a romantic weekend getaway. I clicked the first one. Ava, in a red dress, leaning against a silver-haired man in his 50s. His hand was on her waist. They were at some gala, champagne glasses, chandeliers. The metadata showed it was taken 2 years ago. Second photo, Ava on a yacht wearing a bikini, sitting on the lap of a different man, younger, maybe 35, tech bro aesthetic. Metadata, 18 months ago. Third photo, Ava in Paris, kissing a man in an expensive suit outside the Ritz. I went through all 63. Different men, different cities, different years. The most recent was from 6 months before she'd met Logan. The oldest went back 4 years. None of them were Logan. Eleanor came up behind me, looked over my shoulder. She was quiet for a long moment. She printed these at the villa? From her own phone. Cloud backup, automatic sync. She probably didn't even realize. Why would she print them? Doesn't matter. I opened a new folder. What matters is what we do with them. I spent the next hour selecting the clearest 15 photos. Nothing explicit, nothing illegal. Just Ava with men who clearly weren't her fiancé, in contexts that told a story. I exported them at full resolution, then formatted them into a simple grid. 3 rows, 5 columns. Clean layout, no commentary needed. Eleanor watched me work. This is going to destroy him. He destroyed himself when he threw me out of his wedding. Alfred, I'm not doing this because I'm angry. I clicked print, sent the job to FedEx. I'm doing this because he needs to know who he married. That was partially true. The anger was there, cold and patient. But so was something else. Logan had spent his whole life thinking he was smarter than me, thought my work was beneath him, thought my life was small. He'd looked at Uncle Edward's villa and seen dollar signs, opportunity, leverage, never legacy, never gratitude. The keys went out Tuesday morning, express shipping. I included a note. Enjoy your honeymoon, Dad. They arrived Wednesday. Logan called Thursday afternoon. I didn't answer. He called again Thursday evening. Again, Friday morning. 6 calls total before he finally left a voicemail. Dad, call me back. Now. I waited until Friday evening. Let him stew. Then I called from the landline, put it on speaker so Eleanor could hear. Where did you get these? Logan's voice was raw. Get what? The photos. The pictures of Ava. They were all over the villa. Taped to the bathroom mirror, the bedroom mirror, the hallway mirrors. Everywhere we looked, there they were. I let the silence stretch. Let him hear his own breathing. I asked you a question, Dad. Those aren't my photos, Logan. Then how? She printed them. From her own phone. 3 months ago when you brought her to the villa for your romantic weekend. They were in the printer queue. I just arranged them. You're lying. Check the metadata. Every photo has a timestamp, device ID, location data. Your wife, your bride, has been very busy over the past few years. She said these are fake. Someone's setting her up. Then she should call the police, file a report. I'll be happy to provide the technical documentation. Another silence. Longer this time. I could hear Ava's voice in the background, high and insistent. "This is sick," Logan finally said. "You did this because I asked you to leave the wedding. You're sabotaging my marriage because your feelings got hurt." "I didn't ask her to take those photos, Logan. I didn't ask her to print them. I just made sure you saw them. I want you out of my life, both of you. Don't call me, don't text me, don't show up anywhere. You're done." He hung up. Eleanor crossed her arms. "That went well. He'll file for divorce within a week." "You sound certain." "I am." I closed the laptop. Logan's not stupid enough to ignore evidence, and he's definitely not strong enough to forgive it. She was quiet for a moment. Then, "What if he tries to come after you? Legally?" "For what? Showing him publicly available photos that his wife printed herself? There's no crime there, no hacking, no invasion of privacy. She logged into my network and printed personal documents. I just delivered them. He could claim emotional distress. Let him try." I stood up, stretched. My back popped. I've been working machinery for 36 years. I know how systems break down. You don't smash them with a hammer. You find the weak point and apply steady pressure. Eleanor smiled, thin and sharp. "You're enjoying this?" "Not yet," I said. "But I will." The divorce papers were filed Monday morning. I knew because Logan's lawyer was Monica Pritchard, who'd handled Uncle Edward's estate. She called me out of professional courtesy. "Your son is dissolving his marriage," she said. "Grounds, fraud, and misrepresentation. Specifically, failure to disclose previous relationships of a financial nature." Financial nature. He believes Ava Monroe married him for access to family assets, specifically the Wharton Point property. I leaned back in my desk chair. Outside my office window, the factory floor hummed. Second shift was starting, hydraulic presses cycling, assembly lines rolling. "That's interesting," I said. "Mr. Wharton, I need to ask. Are you involved in this? In Logan's marriage? In whatever evidence he's using to justify this filing. His wife printed some photos at my villa. I showed them to him. That's all." Monica was quiet for a beat. "I see. Is there a problem?" "No. But be careful. Divorce brings out the worst in people. Logan might redirect his anger toward you if Ava fights this. Let him try." She hung up. I sat there for a while, listening to the factory breathe and grind around me, metal on metal, the sharp exhale of pneumatic lines, the low thunder of the paint booth compressors cycling in the distance. 36 years of this soundtrack. I'd started as a line tech right out of high school, moved up to senior maintenance, then into safety engineering. I knew every system in this building, every sensor, every lock, every pressure gauge, right down to the ones maintenance pretended worked fine. I knew how things broke. More importantly, I knew how to break them without anyone noticing. My phone buzzed. Text from Eleanor. "Grant Walsh called the house. Wanted to know if you'd reconsider the villa situation. I told him to lose this number." I smiled. Predictable. Grant always treated persistence like strategy. The investor meetings he'd mentioned weren't just talk. Logan had sent me an email 2 weeks before the wedding, CCing Grant, pitching their business opportunity. The plan was straightforward. Turn Wharton's Point into a boutique event venue. Weddings, corporate retreats, expensive parties for people who needed their champagne to overlook water. They already had 3 potential investors promising renovation capital. All they needed was access to the property, which I controlled. I opened the estate documents on my computer. Uncle Edward hadn't left much to chance. The villa wasn't just deeded to me. It was wrapped in a servitude agreement from 60 years ago. The land could only be used as a private residence. No commercial activity, no public events, no business operations of any kind. Edward had even added a handwritten note tucked between the pages. "Alfred, keep this place what it is. Too many people think legacy means profit. You're the only one who understands the difference. I printed the servitude document, highlighted the clauses that mattered, then scanned the marked copy into a new file. After that, I started drafting an email to Logan and Grant, short, factual, and impossible to misunderstand. Regarding your proposal to use Wharton's point for business purposes, this is not possible under the current deed restrictions. The property is bound by a servitude agreement prohibiting commercial use. Any violation of this agreement would result in immediate forfeiture of the property to the County Historical Preservation Trust. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Alfred. I hit send. 3 minutes later, my phone rang. Grant. You're kidding me with this. Good afternoon, Grant. This servitude thing, you just made that up. Public record. Kalamazoo County Clerk's Office. Filed in 1964, renewed in 1989 and 2007. So get it removed. Can't. It's permanent, part of the original land grant. Everything's negotiable, Alfred. Come on. This deal could make Logan serious money. Make you serious money too if you're smart about it. I don't need money. I need the villa to stay what it is. What it is a waste. Nobody lives there. It's just sitting empty, rotting. I visit once a month. Eleanor and I spend weekends there in the summer. You could do that and still rent it out for events. 20, 30 grand per weekend. That's real money. Not interested. Logan's your son. Then he should have treated me like his father. Silence on the line. When Grant spoke again, his voice had an edge. You're doing this to punish him. Because of the wedding. I'm doing this because the property isn't for sale and never will be. We'll see about that. He hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling something cold and precise settling into place. Grant was going to be a problem. He had that hungry look, the kind of man who saw the world as something to be squeezed for profit. He'd push Logan. Probably already was. Good. I wanted them to push. I wanted them to think they could outmaneuver me, outsmart me, find some loophole or leverage point. Because every move they made would give me more ammunition. Eleanor came home at 6. She worked part-time at a law office downtown 3 days a week, mostly document review and filing. But she'd kept her paralegal certification active, kept her knowledge current. I pulled the property records, she said, dropping her bag on the kitchen counter. You were right about the servitude. It's ironclad. How ironclad? Short of an act of Congress, that restriction isn't going anywhere. Any attempt to violate it triggers automatic forfeiture. No appeals, no buyout. The property just transfers. To who? Midwest Veterans Housing Trust. It's in the original agreement. If the servitude is violated, the property becomes part of their portfolio. I sat down at the table. Midwest Veterans Housing Trust. Uncle Edward had been a vet, Korea, infantry. He'd donated millions to veteran causes over his lifetime. Of course, he'd built that into the deed. Could Logan challenge it? Only if he owned the property, which he doesn't. You do. But if something happened to me? Eleanor looked at me sharply. Don't. I'm asking legally. She sighed. If you passed, the property would go to Logan as your primary heir, but the servitude would transfer with it. He'd be bound by the same restrictions, unless what? Unless you donated the property to a nonprofit before you passed. Then it would bypass inheritance entirely. I nodded slowly. An idea was forming, cold and clean. Find me a list of veteran housing organizations, active ones with good reputations. Alfred, just find them, please. She studied my face. Then she pulled out her laptop. The warehouse meeting happened Tuesday night. Grant had texted me. Need to talk, face to face. You owe Logan that much. I didn't owe Logan anything, but I was curious what Grant thought he could accomplish. So I agreed. He picked the location, an industrial complex off I-94, half abandoned, mostly storage units and distribution centers that serviced the auto plants. I arrived at 7:30. The parking lot was empty except for Grant's BMW and a black pickup I didn't recognize. The warehouse door was propped open with a cinder block. Inside, metal shelving units stretched toward a ceiling lost in shadows. Fluorescent lights flickered. Grant stood near the back, arms crossed. The pickup owner was with him. Thick neck, weightlifter build, wearing a contractor's vest. I didn't recognize him. Alfred. Grant didn't offer his hand. You wanted to talk. This is Tony. He's helping us evaluate the property. Tony nodded at me, didn't speak. I kept my distance, staying near the door. Evaluate it for what? For conversion potential. Once you stop being stubborn. Grant stepped closer. Here's the thing, Alfred. Logan's in a bad place right now. Marriage falling apart, investors getting cold feet. He needs this deal. That's not my problem. It could be. Accidents happen. Old guys like you, living alone in big houses, things fall apart. Stairs get slippery. Gas lines leak. The threat was clumsy, obvious, but the intent was clear. Are you threatening me, Grant? I'm explaining reality. He smiled, showing too many teeth. You should be more cooperative, for your own safety. Tony shifted his weight. His hand went to his belt, where a heavy flashlight hung in a loop. After 36 years working in factories, I could recognize the way men act before a situation gets aggressive. I noticed it in Tony's shoulders, the subtle way he checked his balance. I stepped back toward the door. This conversation's over. It's over when I say it's over. Grant's voice went hard. You think you're smart? You think you can disrespect my investment, humiliate my partner, and just walk away? I think I'm leaving. Tony moved fast. He covered the distance in 3 steps, reaching for my arm. I twisted away, but he caught my jacket, yanked me back. I stumbled into a shelving unit. Metal rattled. Let go. Or what? Tony's breath smelled like coffee and cigarettes. Old man's gonna fight? I didn't fight. Fighting was stupid. Fighting was how you got hurt. Instead, I went limp. Let my weight drop. Tony wasn't expecting it. He lurched forward, off balance. I ducked under his arm, grabbed a cargo strap hanging from the shelving, and looped it around his wrist as he tried to grab me again. He yanked back. The strap pulled tight, caught on a metal hook. His arm jerked up, momentum carrying him into the shelving unit. It tipped. Not much, just enough to spill boxes. Tony swore, trying to pull free. I was already moving, heading for the door at a run, got to my truck, doors locked, engine on. Grant appeared in the warehouse doorway as I backed out. I drove away steady, watching the mirrors. They didn't follow. My hands didn't shake until I was on the highway. Then they trembled, adrenaline draining away into cold clarity. I pulled into a rest stop, sat there with the engine running. That had been stupid. Walking into a warehouse alone, no backup, no plan. I was 58 years old. One good hit from Tony could have ended me. But I'd seen something in Grant's eyes, something desperate. The investor deal was already crumbling. Logan's divorce was scaring people off. They needed the villa to save face, to prove they could deliver, which meant they'd try again. I pulled out my phone, texted Eleanor, "Going to Best Buy, need to upgrade our security system." Her response came fast. "Are you okay?" "Fine, home in an hour." I drove to the nearest electronics store, bought 4 wireless cameras with night vision and motion alerts, a new doorbell camera, and a portable body cam unit like the ones police wore. $800 total, worth every penny. At home, I installed the cameras myself. One covering the front door, one on the back entrance, one in the garage, one facing the driveway. The doorbell camera replaced our old one. All of them fed to an app on my phone, cloud storage, redundant backups. The body cam I clipped to my belt, just in case. Eleanor watched me work. "What happened tonight?" "Grant tried to scare me, brought muscle. It didn't work." "Did he hurt you?" "No, but he made his intentions clear." I tightened the last screw on the garage camera. "They're getting desperate, which means they'll make mistakes." "You sound like you're planning something." "I am." I stepped back, checking the camera angle. "I'm planning to let them destroy themselves." She smiled. You're enjoying this now. Getting there, I said. Logan showed up Thursday morning. I was in the garage organizing tools when the motion alert pinged on my phone. I pulled up the camera feed. Logan's car sitting in the driveway. He got out, slammed the door, walked toward the house. I met him at the front door. Didn't open it. What do you want? Through the glass, Logan looked terrible. Unshaven, eyes red, shirt wrinkled. I want to talk. So talk. Can I come in? No. He flinched. Dad, please, I need help. With what? Everything's falling apart. Ava's fighting the divorce. She hired some lawyer who's claiming I defamed her. The investors pulled out. Grant's freaking out, and it's all because of you. Because of me. Those photos. That servitude thing. You sabotaged everything. I showed you who you married. I protected property that isn't yours. That's not sabotage. That's reality. You could fix this. Talk to the investors. Tell them the villa's available. Sign some kind of waiver for the servitude. No. Why not? I looked at my son through 3 inches of reinforced glass. Saw the boy who'd spent his childhood demanding I buy him things I couldn't afford. The teenager who'd told his friends his dad was just a factory guy. The man who'd thrown me out of his wedding. Because you never earned it, I said quietly. Earned what? Respect, consideration, access to family property. You thought everything was yours just because you're my son. You thought I was an embarrassment, so now you can live with the consequences. I'm your son. You should have remembered that before you humiliated me. I closed the door, locked it, walked away while Logan pounded on the glass, shouting my name. The cameras caught everything. 12 minutes of Logan yelling, threatening, finally breaking down in tears on the front step. Then he left. Eleanor came home at lunch. She watched the footage, shaking her head. He's unraveling. Good. Alfred. He deserves this. Every bit of it. She didn't argue. We ate sandwiches in silence, watching the empty driveway on the camera feed. That night, Ava called. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered anyway. Put it on speaker. Mr. Wharton, this is Ava Monroe. I know who you are. I need to speak with you. It's important. Then speak. A pause. Then, what you did was cruel. Those photos were private. You had no right. You printed them at my property. That makes them discoverable. I trusted Logan. I trusted that his family would be decent people. You married him for money. The photos prove it. The photos prove nothing. I had relationships before Logan. That doesn't make me a bad person. You told him you'd only had 2 serious boyfriends. That was in your wedding vows. I checked. Silence. Then, what do you want? Nothing. Everyone wants something. Money? Is that it? You want me to pay you to retract whatever story you told Logan? There's no story to retract. Just facts. Facts can be interpreted different ways. I could tell people you're a bitter old man who destroyed his son's marriage out of spite. I could go to the media. Father sabotages son's wedding over petty grudge. That would look bad for you. Try it. I'm serious. So am I. Every photo has metadata. Every print job has logs. I can prove you printed those images yourself. And if you go to the media, I'll release all 63 photos, not just the 15 Logan saw, including the ones from Dubai, Monaco, and Singapore, the ones with married men. Another pause. Longer. You wouldn't. Test me. She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling something bright and vicious in my chest. Ava was scared. Good. She should be. She'd built her life on manipulation and surface charm. Now the mask was cracking. Eleanor looked at me from across the room. You're getting mean. They started it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just observing. What's the observation? that you've been quiet and polite your whole life, and now that you're not, you're very good at this. I smiled. Factory training. You learn to see the weak points and exploit them when necessary. She came over, kissed the top of my head. Don't lose yourself in this. I won't. I'm just making sure they lose first. The factory parking lot incident happened Friday afternoon. I was walking to my truck after second shift when a car cut across the lot, tires screeching, heading straight for me. I jumped back. The car, Logan's sedan, slammed to a stop 3 feet away. Logan got out, passenger side. Grant got out, driver's side, both of them moving fast. Dad, wait! I kept walking. My truck was 50 yards away. I could make it. Grant cut me off. We're not done talking. Yes, we are. You think you're so smart, Logan said, voice shaking. You think you won, but you don't understand what you've cost me. I understand perfectly. Ava's lawyers are destroying me. The investors are demanding their deposit money back. Grant's threatening to sue me for breach of contract. My life is over. That's not my fault. It's absolutely your fault. Logan's voice cracked. You showed those photos. You brought up the servitude. You poisoned everything. I told you the truth. What you did with it was your choice. Grant stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call the investors and tell them the villa is available. You're going to sign a document releasing the servitude, and you're going to publicly apologize to Ava. Or we make your life very difficult. I looked at Grant, then at Logan. Then I turned and kept walking. Grant grabbed my arm. I pulled away. He grabbed again, harder. I stumbled. And then Logan was there, shoving me. My back hit a parked car. Pain flared across my shoulders. Admit it, Logan shouted. Admit you did this to hurt me. Logan, stop. Admit it! He shoved me again, harder. My head snapped back, hit metal, vision blurred. I heard voices, shouting. Someone pulled Logan away. Security guards, 2 of them, coming at a run. They separated us, one grabbing Logan, one blocking Grant. Mr. Wharton, you okay? I blinked, focusing. The guard was young, maybe 25. Name tag said Reeves. I'm fine. These guys assault you? They were leaving. I looked at Logan. Right? Logan stared at me, breathing hard. Then Grant pulled him away, back to the car. They left. Reeves watched them go. Want me to call the police? No need. You sure? That looked pretty aggressive. I'm sure. He didn't look convinced, but he let it go. I got in my truck, hands shaking again. But this time it wasn't fear. It was anticipation. Because the parking lot had 64 cameras. High resolution, wide angle, maintained by the factory security team. And I knew exactly who to ask for the footage. At home, I made a call to Marcus Jenkins, head of factory security. We'd worked together for 20 years. He owed me favors. I'd repaired the security system's wiring twice. Off the clock, no charge. Marcus, it's Alfred. I need footage from this afternoon. Parking lot, South End. What am I looking for? Me getting assaulted by my son and his business partner. Silence. Then, seriously? Seriously. You filing charges? Not yet. I just want the evidence preserved. I'll burn you a copy. Stop by Monday. Thanks, Marcus. I hung up. Eleanor was watching from the doorway. They attacked you? Technically, yes. Are you hurt? Bruised. Nothing serious. She crossed her arms. This is escalating. It's supposed to. Alfred, they're desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. I'm just collecting evidence of those mistakes. And then what? Then I finish it. She studied my face. Whatever she saw there made her nod. Okay, but if they come here, I'm calling the police. Fair. I spent the weekend planning, reviewing documents, checking camera footage, building a timeline. Eleanor helped, sitting across from me at the dining table with her laptop, cross-referencing dates and events, flagging details I'd skimmed past the first time. She has a talent for pattern. Where I see lines, she sees the shape they make. By Sunday night, we had a complete picture. Not a theory, not a guess, evidence. Logan and Grant had been planning the villa conversion for 6 months. Longer, if you counted the early emails where they called it an exploratory idea. They'd already spoken to investors, drafted preliminary contracts, even put down a retainer for an architect. All of it dated, documented, and coordinated. All of it before Logan's wedding. Every step built on the assumption that I'd either sign over access voluntarily or they'd find a legal angle to force it. The wedding humiliation hadn't been an accident. Ava had personally approved the seating chart that put me 3 tables back near the bar, away from family and out of every photo that mattered. Logan had followed her lead, acting like it was logistics instead of intention. Grant, of course, had encouraged it from the sidelines, calling me old-fashioned and sentimental in emails he never expected me to read. Out of touch. In the way. They'd wanted me isolated, wanted me to feel unwelcome, wanted me to believe I was already half removed from the family story. That way, when they came asking for the villa, I'd be more compliant, maybe even grateful, convinced they were doing me a favor by including me in their project. They weren't just trying to take the property. They were trying to rewrite the part of the world where I mattered. It's sociopathic, Eleanor said. It's strategic. They're just bad at it. So what now? I pulled up a document on my laptop. The donation transfer forms I'd requested from Midwest Veterans Housing Trust. Now I make sure they can never get the villa. Ever. Eleanor read the forms. Her eyes widened. You're giving it away? In trust. Irrevocable. The property transfers to the nonprofit, but Eleanor and I retain lifetime residence rights. When we pass, it becomes permanent veteran housing. Logan will lose his mind. Logan already lost his mind. This just makes it official. I signed the forms. Eleanor witnessed. We overnighted them Monday morning. The transfer would be final in 72 hours. Ava called again Tuesday. I know what you're planning, she said. Do you? The donation, Logan told me. You're giving the villa to some charity. Veteran Housing Trust. Yes. You can't do that. I already did. The paperwork's filed. This is insane. You're throwing away millions of dollars to help people who actually earned something, unlike you. Logan earned it. He's your son. He was my son. Now he's just someone who threw me out of his wedding and then tried to steal from me. He didn't try to steal anything. The villa is family property. The villa is my property. There's a difference. I could hear her breathing, fast and shallow. What if I apologized? She said. For what? For the wedding, for everything. What if I convinced Logan to apologize too? Then you'd be wasting your time. Why are you doing this? Because you both need to learn that actions have consequences. I hung up. The next call came an hour later. Logan, Dad, please, don't do this. It's done. The donation. You can cancel it, right? Before it's finalized? I could. I won't. Why? Because you asked me to leave your wedding. Because you tried to commercialize Uncle Edward's legacy. Because you assaulted me in a parking lot. Pick a reason. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for all of it. You're sorry you got caught. I mean it. I was wrong. Ava was wrong. We both were. Just, please, give me another chance. I almost laughed. Another chance? Logan, you've had 30 years of chances. Every time you insulted my work. Every time you looked down on my life. Every time you treated me like I was an obstacle instead of your father. This isn't about one mistake. This is about who you are. I'll change. No, you won't. You'll just get better at hiding it. Dad, the donation is final. The villa is gone. Move on. I hung up, blocked his number, blocked Ava's number. Then I blocked Grant's. Eleanor came into the kitchen. You okay? Better than okay. You sound calm. I am calm. It's over. Is it? The legal part is. The rest is just watching them fall apart. She poured coffee, handed me a cup. You've changed. How? You're colder. Harder. I'm pragmatic. Always have been. No, you used to absorb things, let people hurt you without pushing back. Now you push back first. I sipped the coffee. It was hot. Bitter. Is that bad? I didn't say that. I'm just noticing. We sat in silence. Outside, birds were singing. Spring coming early this year. The world kept turning, indifferent to human drama. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Midwest Veterans Housing Trust. Transfer complete. Thank you for your generous donation. I showed Eleanor the screen. She nodded. It's really done, she said. It's really done. The investor event was scheduled for Saturday. I found out because Grant posted about it on social media. A private preview at Wharton's Point, invitation only, exclusive investment opportunity. He'd included photos of the villa, sunset shots, lakeside views, the kind of imagery that made rich people want to write checks. Eleanor saw the post and showed me. Can they actually do this? No, the property's already donated. They have no legal access. So how are they planning to hold an event there? I pulled up the villa's security app. The cameras I'd installed last year were still active. I checked the live feed. Cars in the driveway, people walking the grounds, Grant directing a catering truck. They broke in, I said. How? Doesn't matter. What matters is they're violating the servitude by hosting a commercial event. Eleanor leaned closer to the screen. Can you stop them? Better. I can let them finish, document everything, and then bury them with evidence. I called the Veterans Trust, spoke to their legal director, a woman named Patricia Cole. Mr. Wharton, what can I do for you? The property I donated, someone's using it illegally. Right now, commercial event, multiple attendees. Do you have proof? Video, photos, social media posts, everything. Send it to me. We'll file an injunction Monday morning. I was thinking of handling it more directly. Pause. What do you mean? I mean going there, tonight, with documentation, and making sure everyone involved understands what they've done. Mr. Wharton, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but confrontation isn't... I'm not going to fight anyone. I'm going to educate them, legally. Another pause. If you're determined to go, take someone from our office with you. I'll send Mitchell Graves. He's our field liaison. Military background, knows how to de-escalate. That works. She gave me Mitchell's number. I called him. He agreed to meet me at the villa at 7 p.m. Eleanor insisted on coming. I didn't argue. We drove up together, the sun setting over Lake Michigan, painting the water orange and gold. Mitchell was waiting by the gate, tall, mid-40s, military bearing. He shook my hand. Mr. Wharton, Patricia briefed me. You're sure you want to do this? Positive. Then let's go. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The investor event was scheduled for Saturday. I found out because Grant posted about it on social media. A private preview at Wharton's Point. Invitation only. Exclusive investment opportunity. He'd included photos of the villa. Sunset shots, lakeside views, the kind of imagery that made rich people want to write checks. Eleanor saw the post and showed me. Can they actually do this? No, the property's already donated. They have no legal access. So how are they planning to hold an event there? I pulled up the villa's security app. The cameras I'd installed last year were still active. I checked the live feed, cars in the driveway, people walking the grounds, Grant directing a catering truck. They broke in, I said. How? Doesn't matter. What matters is they're violating the servitude by hosting a commercial event. Eleanor leaned closer to the screen. Can you stop them? Better. I can let them finish, document everything, and then bury them with evidence. I called the Veterans Trust, spoke to their legal director, a woman named Patricia Cole. Mr. Wharton, what can I do for you? The property I donated. Someone's using it illegally. Right now, commercial event, multiple attendees. Do you have proof? Video, photos, social media posts, everything. Send it to me. We'll file an injunction Monday morning. I was thinking of handling it more directly. Pause. What do you mean? I mean going there, tonight, with documentation, and making sure everyone involved understands what they've done. Mr. Wharton, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but confrontation isn't... I'm not going to fight anyone. I'm going to educate them. Legally. Another pause. If you're determined to go, take someone from our office with you. I'll send Mitchell Graves. He's our field liaison, military background, knows how to de-escalate. That works. She gave me Mitchell's number. I called him. He agreed to meet me at the villa at 7 p.m. Eleanor insisted on coming. I didn't argue. We drove up together, the sun setting over Lake Michigan, painting the water orange and gold. The villa looked the way Uncle Edward had left it, stone and timber, sprawling across 3 acres of waterfront, gardens that cost a fortune to maintain. Cars lined the circular driveway. Music drifted from the back terrace. Mitchell was waiting by the gate, tall, mid-40s, military bearing. He shook my hand. Mr. Wharton, Patricia briefed me. You're sure you want to do this? Positive. Then let's go. We walked up the driveway. Grant saw us coming and stopped mid-conversation with a man in an expensive suit. Alfred, what are you doing here? I own this property. What are you doing here? You donated it, which means it's in transition, technically unowned. That's not how donations work. The trust owns it now, and you're trespassing. The expensive suit looked confused. I'm sorry, who are you? Alfred Wharton. I donated this property to Midwest Veterans Housing Trust 3 days ago. Any use of it for commercial purposes violates the deed restriction and constitutes illegal trespassing. Grant? The suit looked at Grant. What's he talking about? Grant's face went red. This is a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. Mitchell stepped forward, holding up his credentials. Mitchell Graves, legal liaison for the trust. This event is unauthorized. All attendees need to leave immediately. Now hold on, Grant started. Immediately, Mitchell repeated. Or we contact local law enforcement. The suit backed away. I'm not getting involved in this. He pulled out his phone. Within 2 minutes, half the attendees were heading for their cars. Logan appeared from inside the villa. He saw me and froze. Dad? You need to leave, Logan. We had permission. From who? You don't own this property. Never did. Ava emerged behind him, wearing a cocktail dress in fury. This is harassment. This is trespassing, Eleanor said calmly. And you're all on camera. I held up my phone, showing the live security feed. Every person here, every car, time-stamped, geotagged, recorded. Grant moved toward me. Mitchell blocked him. Don't, Mitchell said quietly. Grant stopped, but his hands were fists. You ruined everything, Logan said. His voice was hollow. Everything I built. You built nothing. You tried to steal what someone else built and claim it as yours. It should have been mine. I'm your son. Then you should have acted like it. More cars were leaving. The caterers packed up their truck. Within 20 minutes, the property was empty except for me, Eleanor, Mitchell, Logan, Grant, and Ava. I'm calling the police, Grant said. Go ahead, I replied. I'd love to explain to them how you broke into donated property and threw an illegal commercial event. He didn't call. Instead, Logan walked down the driveway, got in his car, and left. Ava followed. Grant stood there a moment longer, staring at me. You're a vindictive old man, he said. I'm a man who protects what's his. It's not yours anymore. Exactly, which means it's definitely not yours. He left. Mitchell watched him go, then turned to me. That was satisfying. It was necessary. Patricia will file the injunction Monday. They won't be able to come within 500 feet of this property. Good. Eleanor and I walked the grounds after Mitchell left. The gardens were overgrown, but still beautiful. The lake reflected twilight, purple and silver. Uncle Edward would have liked this, I said. Liked what? The property going to veterans. People who actually earned something. He would have liked that you fought for it. We stood there, listening to waves lap the shore, and I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Monday morning, the injunction was filed. Mitchell called me with the details. Restraining order granted. Logan Wharton, Ava Monroe, and Grant Walsh are prohibited from entering or contacting you regarding Wharton's point. Violation results in immediate arrest. How'd the judge respond? She was not pleased they'd thrown an event on donated property. Called it egregious disregard for legal process. Your documentation helped. Good. There's more. Ava's divorce lawyer withdrew from the case this morning. Apparently, she hasn't paid her retainer. I smiled. Money problems? Seems like it. And Grant's investment company is under investigation. Fraud allegations. Someone filed a complaint. Someone? Anonymous tip. Very detailed. Included copies of contracts showing he'd promised investors access to property he didn't control. Imagine that. Mitchell laughed. You're thorough, Mr. Wharton. Factory training. I hung up and texted Eleanor the update. She responded with a single word. Perfect. At work, I went through my day like normal, inspected the assembly line sensors, recalibrated pressure gauges, reviewed safety protocols. My hands knew the work. My brain handled it automatically. But underneath, I was waiting. The call came at 2 p.m. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Wharton? A woman's voice, professional. Yes? This is Jennifer Marsh, attorney with Keller & Howe. I represent Ava Monroe. I thought her lawyer quit. Her divorce attorney, yes. I'm handling a separate matter. Ms. Monroe believes you've engaged in defamation and harassment. She's prepared to file a civil suit unless you agree to mediation. On what grounds? That you deliberately distributed private photographs with the intent to harm her reputation and destroy her marriage. The photographs she printed herself, at my property, using my equipment. That's a technical detail. It's a legal fact. And if Ms. Monroe wants to pursue this, I'll be happy to provide all 63 photos to the court, along with metadata, device logs, and testimony about her pattern of financially motivated relationships. Silence. Then, you'd humiliate her publicly? I'd defend myself with evidence. If that humiliates her, she should have thought of that before she tried to blackmail me. She called me twice threatening to go to the media. Those calls are recorded. Another pause. Longer. I'll advise my client to reconsider, the lawyer said. You do that. She hung up. Eleanor came home at 5. I told her about the call. She laughed, actually laughed, and kissed me. You're terrifying when you're methodical. I'm just prepared. You're more than prepared. You're 5 steps ahead. 6, actually. What's step 6? I showed her an email I'd drafted but not sent. Subject line, to Logan. She read it, looked at me. Are you sure? He needs to hear it. It's brutal. It's true. I hit send. The email read, Logan, you asked why I did this. Here's your answer. You spent your whole life thinking I was small, that my work was beneath you, that your ambitions made you better than me. You looked at Uncle Edward's villa and saw opportunity, not legacy. You looked at your wedding and saw a networking event, not a family moment. You looked at me and saw an obstacle, so I removed you from the equation, not out of spite, out of clarity. You don't deserve the villa. You never did. You don't deserve my forgiveness. You haven't earned it. And you don't deserve a relationship with me because you never respected the one we had. This isn't about revenge. This is about consequences. You chose Ava over me. You chose Grant over integrity. You chose ambition over family. Now you get to live with those choices. Don't contact me again. Don't contact Eleanor. We're done. Alfred. I waited for a response. Nothing came Tuesday. Nothing Wednesday. Thursday morning, I received a certified letter from Logan's lawyer. It was a cease and desist, demanding I stop harassing his client with abusive correspondence. I filed it with the rest of the documentation. Eleanor and I spent the weekend at the villa. Midwest Veterans Housing Trust wouldn't take full possession for another month, but they'd granted us permanent residence rights. The place felt different now, lighter. We walked the beach, repaired a broken fence post, sat on the terrace watching the sunset. Do you regret it? Eleanor asked. Which part? Any of it. I thought about that, about Logan's face when he realized the villa was gone, about Ava's panic, about Grant's threats. No, I said, I don't. Not even a little? Not even a little. She nodded. Good. We stayed until Sunday evening, then drove home. The house felt bigger without the weight of anger, quieter. I slept well. The final confrontation came 2 weeks later. I was at the factory, end of shift, walking to my truck. The parking lot was nearly empty. The sun was setting, long shadows across the pavement. Logan's car pulled in, fast, too fast. It skidded to a stop in front of me, blocking my path. Logan got out. He looked destroyed, thinner, paler, eyes hollow. We need to talk. There's a restraining order. That's for the villa. This is different. No, it's not. He stepped closer. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your own life. I just stopped enabling it. Ava's gone. She left the state, took everything I had left. The investors are suing me. Grant's company is bankrupt. I lost my condo. I'm living with a friend, sleeping on a couch, and it's all because of you. It's because of your choices. You could have forgiven me. I could have. I didn't. Why? I looked at my son, saw the boy I'd raised, the teenager I'd supported, the man I'd tried to respect, saw the person who'd shouted at me in public, who'd tried to steal from me, who'd assaulted me. Because you never apologized for the right reasons, I said. You apologized because you wanted something from me, not because you understood what you'd done. I understand now. Do you? Yes. I was selfish. I was cruel. I put Ava and Grant ahead of you. I humiliated you at my wedding. I tried to take the villa. I hurt you. And I'm sorry. I nodded slowly. Okay. Okay? You're sorry. I hear you. So nothing. You're sorry. That's nice. It doesn't change anything. What do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. That's the point you keep missing. I'm done wanting things from you. I'm done expecting you to be someone you're not. I'm just done. So that's it? I'm just cut off forever? You cut yourself off, at the wedding, the moment you valued your wife's approval over your father's presence. I made a mistake. You made a choice, and choices have weight. Logan's face crumpled. For a second, I thought he might cry, but he didn't. He just stood there, broken and lost. I don't know what to do, he whispered. Figure it out. You're 30 years old. Time to stand on your own. I walked around his car, got in my truck, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw him standing there, alone in the parking lot, watching me leave. I didn't feel bad. I felt free. At home, Eleanor was making dinner. I hung up my coat, washed my hands, sat at the kitchen table. How was your day? She asked. Logan showed up. She turned, concerned. And nothing. He apologized. I accepted the apology. Then I left. That's it? That's it. She studied me. You look lighter. I am lighter. It's over. Really over? Really over. We ate dinner, talked about normal things, Eleanor's work, a movie we wanted to see, plans for the summer. Later, sitting on the porch with coffee, I thought about Uncle Edward, about the letter he'd left with the villa deed. Alfred, keep this place what it is. Too many people think legacy means profit. You're the only one who understands the difference. I'd kept it what it was, protected it, made sure it went to people who'd earned something, not people who just wanted it. Logan would never understand that. Grant would never understand it. Ava would never understand it. But I understood, and that was enough. Eleanor came out, sat beside me. What are you thinking about? That I did the right thing. Did you? Yes. No doubts? None. She smiled. Then we're good. We're good. We sat there as night fell, listening to crickets and distant traffic. The world kept turning, life kept moving, and I was exactly where I wanted to be. The next morning, I went to work, clocked in, checked the assembly line, recalibrated sensors, fixed a pressure valve, had lunch with the day crew. My phone rang at 2 p.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. Mr. Wharton, this is Patricia Cole from the Veterans Trust. Hi, Patricia. I wanted to let you know we've completed the transfer process. Wharton's Point is officially part of our housing program. We're planning to dedicate it next month. We'd like you there. I'd be honored. There's one more thing. We found some documents in the villa's safe, letters from your uncle, addressed to you. What do they say? I don't know. They're sealed. But one envelope says, "Open when you've earned it." Does that mean something to you? I smiled. Uncle Edward, always thinking ahead. Yeah, I said. It means something. We'll bring them to the dedication. Thank you, Patricia. I hung up. Sat there in my office, surrounded by tools and schematics and 36 years of work. Earned it. I'd earned it. Not through manipulation, not through shortcuts, through staying true to what mattered. That evening, Grant Walsh's investment company officially declared bankruptcy. The news hit the trades by 5 p.m. His fraud investigation went public. Several investors filed criminal complaints. Logan called me. I didn't answer. Ava texted, "You win." I deleted it. Eleanor and I drove to the villa that weekend, walked the grounds, stood on the terrace where Uncle Edward used to smoke cigars and talk about the value of work. He'd be proud of you, Eleanor said. I hope so. I know so. We stayed until sunset, locked up the house, drove home. The dedication ceremony was scheduled for May 15th, spring on Lake Michigan. The perfect time. I marked it on my calendar. And then I got back to work. Because that's what you do. You work. You protect what matters. You stand up when you need to. And you don't apologize for being strong. Logan never contacted me again. Ava disappeared into whatever life people like her build when the facade cracks. Grant faced charges. Last I heard, he was looking at 3 years. And me? I went to the factory every day. Came home to Eleanor every night. Spent weekends at the villa, watching veterans move into their new home, watching the property become what Uncle Edward had always intended. 3 months after the dedication, a letter arrived. From Logan's friend, the one he was staying with. Mr. Wharton, you don't know me, but I thought you should know Logan got a job. Entry-level sales. He's working hard, not asking for handouts. I think he's finally learning. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it and put it in a drawer. Maybe he was learning. Maybe he wasn't. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. I'd done what I needed to do, protected what mattered, stood my ground, and I'd won. Not because I destroyed them, but because I stopped letting them destroy me.